In a surprisingly deep history, Thor took over 20 years to finally reach his film debut. Originally pitched by Sam Raimi in 1991, Marvel passed on the project before re-upping their interest in the early 2000s with the success of Spider-Man and X-Men. This time though, they envisioned it as a TV series. Development on that version of Thor quickly came and quickly went. The project was passed around with the likes of David S. Goyer and then became an MCU project with the success of Iron Man. They found director Matthew Vaughn, and it was going to be a movie about a god finding his powers and an origin story that isn't necessarily an origin story, kind of like the movie we ended up getting. The film then started Vaughn dropped out, like many directors before him, and because they'd already chosen their 2010 slot, they were quick to try to find new directors. Names like Guillermo del Toro were in talks, but eventually they landed on Shakespeare extraordinaire Kenneth Branagh. He envisioned a human story right in the center of a big epic scenario. Those are his words, not mine. Casting came and went. Tom Hiddleston and Liam Hemsworth both auditioned for the role of Thor, but as fate would have it, Chris Hemsworth got the role. They saw the potential in Hiddleston and gave him Loki, one of the smartest moves I think anyone made in the MCU. They snagged Anthony Hopkins for Odin, Natalie Portman for Jane Foster, and shooting began. It went on to gross $449.3 million on a $150 million budget, and it got decent reviewed. This movie is quite interesting to look at now within the context of the wider MCU and its sequels. Maybe most intriguingly, what do you think about Thor in this? Because, he's gone through a whole lot of changes throughout the MCU.
Thought it was a good character arc for him, he went from cocky and arrogant, but it's
basic and
it's kind of been normal MCU at this point.
Not at this point though.
Well, I mean, they already did it with Tony.
No, but John, he doesn't have his powers for the movie.
I know, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, but it's like it works. He's got the dyed eyebrows, and he's, you know what? And this is he's got better costumes for sure. But this is a great costume.
Mm-hmm.
Cape is luxurious, and it's actually not like so far off from Ragnarok. It's far off from Love and Thunder, but
yeah, it is kind of funny though with Thor's character in this though. Like, he seems like he's so young and everything, which I mean, in the grand scheme of things, for his age, how he ages, he is. But like, he's like what at this point, like 1,000.
Right. That's like he's like a dumbass.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
But I mean, like 1,000,
so
1,000, like
5 years.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I mean, like 1,000 for him though is probably like 20.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, then it's just so. I mean, I guess when 20 to 25, I guess you learn a lot.
I loved Kid Thor.
Oh, you liked Kid Thor? Like the couple scenes he was in?
Yeah, they were incredible. I thought Chris Hemsworth gave a pretty good performance, and I'd say, and we'll get here when we get there, I'd say he gave a better performance than some people.
Yeah,
that you might not expect.
I think we'll agree on that part.
Yeah.
But one thing that I thought was a little bit laughable about his performance was when he died. Oh yeah. He literally just makes a noise. He goes. That was like the worst death I've ever seen in my life.
When he gets like blasted by he gets just bitch smacked.
No. Yeah. Well, like I was expecting. I mean, I know he's human at that point, but I was like the damage looked like on his body, like it wasn't that much, and he looked like he was fine for a split second, and then it just.
Thor, good. Thor has appeared in 8 films. Unfortunately, the supporting cast of this movie hasn't been quite so lucky. Now, the supporting characters some of them were much more interesting than I thought or remembered. But one in particular, I was like, what's up with this guy? He's an award winner.
Anthony Hopkins?
Yeah, what was up? He
gave a horrible performance, I won't lie.
I was like actually shocked, but
yeah.
How they got him for this movie is wild.
He kind of gives me the vibes of Marlon Brando, whatever Superman movie he was in, or he just didn't give a shit.
Right, but it's weird because it's like he signed up for the movie.
Yeah, I mean, he probably signed a multi-picture deal too.
Probably, and he just gave
the worst performance of his career.
It was so lame. I was actually shocked. The Warriors 3 and Sif though, they were all pretty fun.
Yeah.
I'm kind of.
We never get much of them though in general.
Again, but in this, they're like the big guy eats too much. Like they have some character.
Yeah, Lady Sif does show up in Agents of Shield for an episode.
Yeah, I've seen that. But yeah, and she's like, I will die on this.
In the battlefield, yeah.
But she also did in Love and Thunder. She did the same thing. I wonder if that was a callback. I didn't know. So it was all. They were all pretty cool, surprisingly.
Yeah, CGI.
Yeah, it's shoddy. And that.
But I mean, this was a lot of CGI for this time, like with the whole Asgard and everything too.
And
so.
The battles. It's Dr. Selvig.
Yeah, he's a Skarsgård, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always fun in these movies. I think anytime he shows up,
he doesn't phone it in. He's not the most meaty character, but he does his best. And Natalie Portman, probably the only time she's in these movies that she cares at all. Mm-hmm. If I had to guess.
There was one line though that I thought was kind of funny when she's like when Thor comes back and she's like, "Oh my God," and I was like, "No way."
The crazy. Darcy is not yet totally annoying. Mm-hmm. Which. Yeah, she comes back in WandaVision.
Yep, and then her and Tom Hiddleston started dating in real life.
Oh yeah, that's true for I don't know how long. And Phil Coulson, this is his first real. He was in Iron Man 2, but this is his first anything to do.
Do we get any other appearances with him before Avengers? No, right?
I don't think so. And then of course Hawkeye's incredible appearance where he pulls the bow back.
We love Hawkeye.
He just stands there.
I mean, I guess they've been teasing him,
Generally, I think that the Asgard half of the story is interesting, and I'm happy that they take Anthony Hopkins out because he brings it down. And and I was surprised to see how just like earnestly entertaining the Mexico Earth stuff was.
Yeah. I also, I wish we would have gotten, a little bit more of a demonstration of Odin's power because we never really do in the MCU.
Right.
Because in the comics, he's
powerful.
Crazy
he's
powerful.
Like Thanos level.
I would say stronger than Thanos level.
If any one thing incredible came out of this movie, it would be the villains. They range from being decent to really good. I think Loki's a great villain. And I think that Tom Hiddleston gave the best performance of this movie, bar none. I don't think it's close. Yeah. Like that when they're shouting at each other and Odin has a heart attack from being yelled at.
Yeah, no, the whole Odin sleep. Like I'm like, I was a little shocked goofy. By that. I thought that was a little bit of lazy writing because they kind of needed Odin's too powerful. They kind of need to get him out of there.
Heimdall too.
Yeah,
but I was also
thinking, freeze Heimdall.
Like well, they just freeze him, and then it's just like, oh, now we can just get out. There's no like saving him or mission or anything. It's just like, oh, he's free now, But no, Loki. I mean, Tom Hiddleston went out for Thor, so whoever switched that around deserves a raise. Because
you see a lot of that with like villains that go for the hero and then they just get cast as the villain.
But yeah, he's been committed. He's still committed. Loki season 2 is about to come out. But just like. That scene when they're shouting at each other, I'm like, Anthony Hopkins seems like he doesn't want to be there, and Tom Hiddleston's giving like the performance of the movie at that moment. Yeah. I thought the Frost Giants were decent, They're not trying to do anything, but they have the cool red eyes and.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though about these early Marvel movies, I love the dark atmospheres in a lot of these cases, which we don't really get.
It's got a good tone. The movie's trying to balance action with a character-driven story. The question is, does it succeed? It's because I think it's an interesting, because it's sort of an origin story. Mm-hmm. But they have to like take his powers away, and I haven't seen this movie in so long. I forgot how they handled that. I forgot that the first act, the whole first third of this movie is on Asgard, but I don't know. I found it was just nice slice of life movie.
Yeah, I thought it was enjoyable, but one thing that I did feel though is I did feel like in this movie it was a little bit kind of like, oh, we're here, like not like even setting wise, like plot wise, it just jumps from like this point to this point.
It's
like
not,
with no,
it's not a masterpiece by any means. But I just expected it to be boring, but I wasn't bored. I was having a good time. It was funny when it needed to be, and not like overly funny like Love and Thunder. It wasn't overly dark when it needed to be, but it was dark, and I don't know, it was well paced.
Yeah, no,
I was a little concerned with the 2-hour runtime. I'm like, is this 2 hour worth of story here? But I'd say everything there's, you're building the world. This is the first cosmic MCU movie, you know? Not a lot of it stuck, I don't think.
Yeah, I did have a question that I was wondering as well. So with this movie, right, Thor gets his powers taken away, but he's as we learned in Ragnarok, he's just a god in general, right? Yeah. So he gets his powers taken away, right? And he says Odin says anyone who wields this hammer will get the power of Thor.
All right.
So that means he transferred probably Thor's powers into the hammer, so he can just take Thor's powers away like that. So when the hammer gets destroyed, does it return to Thor then? Because Odin says, you're not a god of hammers. You're
right. Yeah, I guess so.
Is that because they never really explained that? Because
I think what's funny about this is there's just so much about this movie that I was kind of just saying, like. It's like setting the precedent for like a lot of what like the cosmic is and what the rules are, but like almost all of it is like tossed out. I mean, yeah, I guess this movie implies that the powers are directly linked to the hammer. Without the hammer, there's no powers. But he also takes his like gauntlet.
Yeah, what I was assuming was, is Odin took the powers from within Thor and put it into the hammer when he did that.
Yeah, I guess he just.
And then I'm assuming, I guess when it gets destroyed, it goes back to him. But I don't think they thought of it like that.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, you have you're my firstborn, which then they retcon. I think because he says you're my firstborn son, so like, but not the firstborn daughter.
A little wiggle room, I guess.
Right, and then you have the Infinity Gauntlet that's in the thing that's in his vault that obviously doesn't make any sense. Although I always like the implication that Thanos didn't do anything because Odin was alive. And once he realized Odin was dead, he's like, it's my time to shine. I like that theory. But, I don't know. I mean, Odin would probably want he's a greedy guy. But yeah, I don't know, just like the space world, it kind of implies like a totally different type of like space and how space works than like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And once Guardians comes out, it's like everything's like that, I didn't love the Dutch angles, I have to admit. A lot of them. I mean, like, a lot of them. I'd say, like, 50% of this movie is shot in Dutch angles, if not more.
Yeah. One thing was that Natalie Portman line I said earlier, too. I'm not going to lie. It felt like the way she said it, I felt like I was watching, like, some, like, fragrance ad, though, that she'd been in or something, right? Because she says, oh, my God. And then when she says God, the camera, like, turns sideways for a split second, too. And I felt like there was supposed to be, like, music behind it with an ad and
it's
stuff.
Weird. It's like, well, because Kenneth Branagh directs this, and at this point in career, he's known for Shakespeare, which is one of the reasons they got him. After many directors, had their hands on this. Yeah, I don't know how I like Kenneth Branagh as an actor, but he doesn't really do it for me as a director. It's kind of, it's kind of stale in its, like, direction. And I think we'll tie this in by going to our next segment. At the end of the day, though, this is an action movie at heart. Is the action any good, though? The action scenes. Because, God, I think they're shot horribly.
Yeah, I agree, too.
I mean, like, so you start with the Frost Giants action scene.
I didn't mind that one as much.
I thought the one where, like, the group goes to attack the Frost Giants, without Odin. I thought that was horribly shot. Like, I thought the action felt like lifeless and like every hit didn't feel like it like connected, and I don't know, and it was dark, and I just didn't think it was all that good.
I think there was a little bit more fighting involved in that action scene, whereas some of the action scenes, there's not much, hitting going on or anything. It's just
I mean, yeah, sure, it's more dynamic than the other ones, but I just thought it was horribly shot. Like, it was almost a better written action scene than a shot one, which is crazy. And, the big CGI beast thing didn't look all that good. And yeah, no, what I was coming for, this, it's an action movie, so you expect good action. I'm surprised that wasn't, like, near what was the best part about this movie for me. I mean, the whole final fight, I'd say, is pretty good.
One thing I thought was kind of funny was it's Loki and Thor are talking, right? Loki blasts him. He goes flying onto the thing, right?
All right.
The next shot we see is I don't know. I mean, I guess there must have been a lot of time in between that because it's Loki on the fucking bridge on a horse riding away.
Got on a horse.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he can summon them. Maybe he always.
Yeah, but I just mean he had to travel a little bit of distance to get already to the bridge and everything too.
I guess.
And then also he's able to put the thing in the Bifrost by time, and then Thor shows back up.
Yeah. It's not the best shot action. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That scene's better because it has more just like, I don't know.
It has more meaning.
Right. But then you go and you look at like the fight with the, I don't know, I think it's called the Destroyer.
Yeah.
With the three, and Sif and Thor, and it's like, again,
very lifeless. I feel like people were just getting one shot at the entire time.
Right,
That's all it really was.
It was a pretty bland scene. Editing Jack here. We totally forgot to talk about the scene where he tries to take back the hammer. I'm not speaking for John because he's not here, but speaking for myself, that might just be the best action scene in the movie. So I don't know how we forgot it, but it's well shot and it looks cool and it's got actual stakes. And it's just a cool, fun action scene as opposed to a lot of the other ones that we've been talking about in this video that you're watching. So yeah, back to the clips and stuff. Just, the action was not the highlight for sure. Not Kenneth Branagh's strong suit. But with all the bad that I've said, for some reason, I just had a good time with it.
No, it's an enjoyable movie. I will say it is an enjoyable movie.
I'm shocked. I mean, out of the 4 we've done so far, it's definitely not better than Iron Man or even close. But I think I liked it more than Iron Man 2 and Incredible Hulk.
See, for me, I would probably say it's worse than Iron Man 2, just because I was probably a soft spot for Iron Man 2, in all honesty.
I mean, so do I, it probably won't age this way. We might do a ranking, obviously, when this all ends, and then we'll have months to think about all this stuff. But, yeah, right now, I just had a good time with it.
Which is surprising. You were
I was a Thor hater. I was like...
I used to be the Thor defender.
I never remember you being such a defender.
I would say is I don't know. I like the first one. That's all I would say to you because I was like, I mean,
I like the third one
because you would every time it'd be like anytime we talk about it, it'd be like, oh, I haven't seen that movie in years, but I just remember not liking it. I'm like, well, I remember I liked it.
I remember it was boring. What can I say? I'm a Thor fan.
Now you are, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love his eyebrows. I love the vibe, and I hate the Dutch angles. Hate the action scenes. We get Loki.
Mm-hmm. It is kind of sad though, where they do take Thor's arcs in the future movies, though. Like, I
feel like it's just like you have Thor in his solo movie, and then it's like Avengers reset, like every time.
They reset his character arc
like,
every single time.
Put him in Avengers. It's like, okay, he's kind of on the same path. You get Dark World. I honestly don't even know if he has a story in there. We'll see. And then you get Age of Ultron, and then he's like all dark in that one. He cracks some jokes, Those 4 movies still feel like the same Thor, and then as like Ragnarok's just like a little bit of a tangent, and then you go back dark. Actually, you know what? I think it's weird. I think it's just Love and Thunder has completely ruined my...
I think I didn't like Endgame's arc with him either, though.
Okay, well, the Fat Thor was...
Not even just that, though. It's like he spends... I mean, even in... This movie made it even worse for me, too. It's like the whole point of him is maturing and able to become king again. Like learning. He's on a path to being able to become king. And then in Ragnarok, he finally does it. And then Endgame...
Yeah, and it was... I think there was a way to do that good, with the end of Infinity War, and then make it, a triumphant, rise from like the lowest point in his life, like everybody he knows is dead and blah blah blah, and he doesn't talk to his friends from Earth anymore and all this. But instead they send him off with the Guardians, which was a horrible choice.
Yeah, well, no, I don't even just think it's that. I just mean like they played off they played off his depression like as a complete joke the entire movie, and then the whole thing that we've his entire arc has been building up to it's like
no, a joke or two, sure, but like they didn't handle it with like any care, and then it's I think Thor has definitely done the worst. At least Hulk made sense, even if it's not what everybody wanted. But Thor, I mean, he's decent here, but and he's pretty consistent until Endgame, really, and then God, Love and Thunder, which I'm not excited to revisit in like a year or two when we get there. All right, John, rating.
Out of 5, 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that. I was thinking 3.5, but we'll say 3.
Yeah, it's always hard with these movies, like with movies like this, because you really enjoy them.
Right.
But it's like you can't give it more than a 3 because it's not like.
It's weird because like our phase 1 ranking will probably end up being like a 3.2 like average, which is pretty bad. But like when I think of phase 1, I really like the vibe.
Yeah. Oh no, I like the vibe more, but it's just it's very beginnings,
right?
So it's like
yeah, it's weird. You almost wonder like with 3, I wouldn't call Incredible Hulk or Iron Man 2 or this a stinker, but with 3 like pretty movies, that's how good Iron Man 1 was, that like they had enough good faith from that one movie and like 3 decent movies that they were able to like propel Avengers to be as big as it was.
I mean, yeah, and these are just these were all like relatively enjoyable movies though at the end of the day too. So it's like
no one's coming out of them being like I hated that. Well, some people are, but not us.
Yeah, I think 3 is properly rated for it because also there's, as I've said in other videos as well for our MCU videos, there's just certain MCU movies that I like, will probably give a 3.5 that I can't say that this movie's better than.
Right. But anyway, that's the video, everybody. We hope you enjoyed. Tell us your thoughts on Thor. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, all over Rebored Podcast. We have a lot of content incoming. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Goodbye.